I have acrylic nails, which I never did, and I'm often either wearing high top hiking boots or 4-inch heels. Which is
very California.
I know. So they're not either in your night party clothes, stream, or you're hiking.
Right.
You're in your hiking shoes, you're out on the beach or something, you're riding your bike. I love it. It's great.
I can dress myself up and not feel like I'm at a place at any time,
Well,
or not.
I know. I'm actually wearing regular clothes today. I usually just wear yoga suits everywhere. Yoga suit, but if you do want to dress up outlandishly and pink mini dress or whatever you want to wear,
Nobody will look twice.
Nobody will look twice. You're scared of sitting there.
Californians have seen it all.
Yeah.
A lot of times people love the music, or if it's not the same thing, you can promote your own industry.
True. Just give or take.
So did you just move out here and look for a job, or did you have a job?
I started looking before I moved. I had 4 weeks notice. I got a text from my friend saying, moving to California in 4 weeks, you should come.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. So I started job hunting immediately and got a phone call a few hours after applying from a Starbucks in West Hollywood. And I told her, I was like, I'm moving in a few weeks. And she's like, okay, give me a call then. So I called her. I moved here on a Monday, called her on a Tuesday, interviewed on a Wednesday, got the job on Thursday. Really,
Yes.
I was like,
What's this population growth here and job growth? Oh my God, that's awesome. And you said you were living with your friend.
yeah, she moved back. I had a new roommate coming in. And I basically did like some window housing to catch people to see it. And I picked out somebody that I thought was going to be warm. And then after everybody left, I was like, I'll just call this one person.
You know what I mean?
So I called this girl that lives in Rhode Island. And after a phone call, she was like, you know what? I'm going to go with her. I don't know why, but I'm going to do it. So she reminded me of me. She reminded me of me,
Might understand, but I love it. I think it's so great. Well, I have a little rental house in Chicago that I own and I rent out to people. And my tenant said about a month ago, 83 weeks ago, we're leaving. At the end of June, we found the house we want to buy, and it's not there. And they had been staying there month to month after their lease ended, so it was my responsibility. I had to lock them into the lease. It wouldn't have been fair to hold them to their lease anyway if they bought a home. So I was really bummed out about it. But because my tenant, the woman, is on a mommy house. Whatever Facebook page, and they're women from all over the country. Here, she just joined the Chicago Moms Facebook group because her company is transferring her child and her husband back to Chicago where she's from. And so a smart thing, just like you probably started looking for jobs before you came, she started looking for mommy groups before she moved to Chicago. She posted on the mommy, she saw on the mommy group, my tenant posted, my lovely house that I live in is becoming available July 1st. And this woman said, I want it.
Yeah.
And then her company flew her out to some meeting in Chicago. She was there, maybe she went to visit her mother, visited the house, loved it, and today I just met her and her husband and her babies, and I had her dinner. Wow! All through the day, I don't have to do anything.
That's crazy.
I know, all because she was able to tap into a mommy's group still in Chicago. So I don't have to. do that.
The internet is quite.
It's amazing, and I told them, it's quite amazing, right? And then I told them, I said, I live here, and things go wrong with old houses. The houses are 100 years old. And what the other people would do is they would take a video of what was wrong with the commentary, a little film of what needed to be done, and then they'd send it to me as a class. And all my workmen, I deal with my chefs.
Everything's so immediate.
So I can contact Sears and say deliver and move it later. Here's the contact person's name. I mean, all that. It's just you're not.
Makes things move really fast.
Yeah. It's just you can do things at a distance in a way that you couldn't before. So
I'm trying to figure out how you do it affordably.
So you had a nice and stuff to winter here.
Yeah, I went back
For holidays. I went back holidays too.
so cold. I felt like such a wimp. I was like, I've done this all my life and I can't go this time. It's just but, it was really surreal going back. It was really surreal going back.
Surreal.
Yeah, because I'd only been here for 3 or so months, and it just felt like a different world when I went back.
All right, everybody wants to make stores working with a really good rapport.
Exponentially, I think, more than I'd ever changed. Come back and I'm sleeping in my old bed, and I don't feel the same about that, But it was a nice experience.
I had a transformative experience when I went back also, because when I came here, I missed the street energy of Chicago.
Yeah.
There ain't no street energy. I live in a tourist neighborhood where you walk outside and there are tourists, people in the street action. I'm near 2 blocks in the area of a lot of bars. People and stuff. I didn't even own a car. I would just step outside my house and there's a lake in the park. And then I moved here and I was in a little neighborhood, rental apartment.
Oh, so it wasn't his.
Here I am here.
Yeah, I mean, it was his beat.
So I'm glad where it is that
I wrote lyrics over a beat of
and then I had my brother got sick, my mother died, my car, I had a nobody was injured, but it was like amps and Bessie when I played, my cat peed all over everything.
Anything frustrating goes on.
It happened. And so I was feeling like, I was going to take the question, what's the secret of my happiest moment? What is the best secret? And I was and then I went back to Illinois to talking about a couple friends. And I love being in my son's apartment and being with my son and his friends and my in-laws and all this stuff. And then I came back and I was like, I was asking the better question is, who do I love?
Danny doesn't even charge that.
And what do I do?
Amazing talent.
And I just came home with that question, with those questions and those answers, because I still love my kids,
Exactly.
and his wife, and
That was really
his friends.
But
I love being in their house, so. So, but.
Right. Yeah, that's how I feel. My family asks me to move back all the time. My family, my best friend. Any chance they can get, any small thing that happens, they're like, well, I think you should just come back. And I think about that, and I'm like, I love these people, but I've met so many people here that I love, and I'm meeting more all the time.
I had a great, way more friends here in like 3 months than I've ever made.
Yeah,
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And just, meeting people for, but it's making friends, going to meetups, whatever, or looking for somebody as a partner, a play partner, or whatever. That you had more dates that dinner in 3 months that I had.
Oh, I don't know.
Years
That's
in
exciting.
Chicago.
Seeing
Yeah, it's really
The proximity. You probably have the same thing, and more people who have an affinity who want to hang out with you, who want to hang out with them, right?
Yeah, there's always something to do.
I mean,
That too, there's,
you never know.
like, I have some night, 3 possible things I can do.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there's a little.
You just take your pick. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if everybody wants to kind
There's
of
something I couldn't
grab
tell
a
else I
drink
could
or
tonight,
you
but I
can
could
still
tell
eat
you.
if you want to eat and make yourself comfortable. I'm gonna set up here. I might actually sit there if that's okay. I'm gonna record. And make yourself totally comfortable.
Should we
Yeah,
move it
plenty of
closer?
chairs. Yeah, everybody come in. We'll make a little circle here and make yourself cozy. I gotta fix the kids' TV real quick.
Really? I mean, people are meditating. Okay. So that was.
I missed the first part. I went to college. And they taught us this breathing exercise, which actually is a meditation. I didn't know. It is. Actually, we did the 10 minutes.
Right.
Breathing and focus, relaxation. They said, oh, you're busy times. If you go forth in the world and your country is getting unstable, and if you do this you'll get the feeling of the houses.
But I would every time.
Me too.
Now it gets so quiet. Wow.
You need a chair.
I sit down there.
Oh, you can sit anywhere you're comfortable. I have, yeah, there's another, I have a bench over there
This
too.
is perfect.
Oh, yeah, wherever
Actually,
you
no,
sit.
it's too hot.
There's another
Need
bench over
something
there.
short.
Is that too tall for you?
It will be either very short or very close. Maybe I should turn it in. Should I turn it?
Whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah. Make yourselves completely at home. You guys want to lay on the floor? You want to hang from the ceiling? Whatever's good. I'm good with it all. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. My name is Sikander. That's my spiritual name, my Sufi name. My real name is Scott. And I'll give you a really brief history. A lot of you guys have heard this because you may have come before, but I was a touring musician for many years, played in a lot of different rock bands and things like that. I've always had a love for spiritual music and always felt a spiritual connection with music. My dad was a church choir director. I was raised in a very strict Christian home, very Bible Belt kind of upbringing. And I had kind of a situation when I was a teenager that kind of changed my attitude about my upbringing and made me question a lot about my faith. And you know, I kind of grown up pointing the finger at other faiths and not really understanding what they were about. And I wanted to know what's wrong with that. Why are these people going to hell or whatever I was taught, you know, whatever that was the sentiment growing up. So I really fervently studied a lot of different religions and different faiths and different beliefs. And intertwined a lot of that into my music. Like it just kind of seeped its way in, and I always wanted to really express something divine through my art. And so I grew up in Ohio. I moved here, it was probably about 13 years ago now. And probably the first year that I moved out here, I was working at a music store, and a friend of mine says, "Hey, you know, I want to go to the bookstore, Bodhi Tree, down on Melrose, and pick up this book by Hazrat Inayat Khan called The Music of Life." I never heard of him. Hazrat, what? And you know, it was totally foreign to me, you know, Ohio boy. That was new to me. And so I went with her, and we checked it out. We were looking at some different books and things. And when she was looking for that one, she found it. And then I pulled this book out, The Mysticism of Sound and Music. And when I just picking it up and looking at this image of Inayat Khan, like, was so striking to me. Just his image. And I just looked at the book for a few minutes, and then I started reading some different things. And one of the first things that I read is that we all have our own note within the universe of life. And I was just, why? We all have our own note within the universe, the symphony of life. You know, I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I started reading more. And the more I read, the more it just was like a spotlight on what I was trying to say about what I was trying to express in music. Now I was playing heavy metal, and I was angry, and I was frustrated. It wasn't where I wanted to be in my life, and I expressed that to the fullest. And I thought that I was like being so spiritual because I'm expressing myself so freely. But then I'm listening to the hate and the anger that I'm putting off, and I'm like, well, that's good. You're freely expressing some really negative stuff, dude. And so it opened my mind, and I had an awakening through really reading this book. Kind of led me to my spiritual awakening. And it just opened up so much for me that within a few years, I decided I needed a guide, and I wanted to be on the Sufi path. And I met my guide, Tasneem, who's this beautiful woman right here.
How did you meet Tasneem?
You know, I was looking for a Sufi teacher in LA, and she was in Burbank and very close. And so I reached out to her, and we had a few communications back and forth. And then I came to a class, and, you know, after 3 or 4 classes, I'm a sap anyway. I mean, I look like this rough, tough, tattooed, dreadlock, you know, rocker guy. But I mean, I have a very soft emotional side, and I would just, after these classes, I'd just be weeping and just like, what's going on with it? This has had major transformation, you know, through just coming to this path. And it really is that. Sufism is a path. It predates Islam, but it does have a lot of tenets within Islamic mysticism. So that's a big part of it. But it really goes back farther than that. It really starts at prophethood. So it kind of starts with Adam. His son Seth was really listed as, or kind of said to be, the first Sufi. The first time that the word Sufi was used to describe someone was Adam's son Seth. So it goes back from the beginning of prophethood, and it really ends, I wouldn't say ends, but kind of culminates with Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. And so there is that, but again, it predates all of that. And Inayat Khan was raised in he was born in a Muslim family, but he went to a Hindu school. His family said, you know, the Hindu school is so much better than the Muslim school. We're going to send him there, and that's where he's going to get the best education. And he learned the whole Hindustani music and really became just this incredible Indian musician. And in 1910, he came to the U.S. and started doing music here, and hooked up with a dancer and opera group, and did a lot of different things there. And they were the royal musicians of Hindustan, is what they were called. So yeah, I mean, they very much did Indian classical music, and then Drupad, and but he started lecturing, you know, and Inayat Khan started lecturing at different places and started taking the Sufi message, you know, from the East, and really transforming it for the West, and really realizing that he was speaking with mostly a Christian audience, and people that weren't, you know, had no idea what this stuff. His music was weird enough to them, you know. The message was different. So he really, I don't want to say he westernized, but he did in a way really put it into an essence that was digestible, I think, to a Western audience. And through his music and through his way of teaching spiritual life through musical terms is what really just drew me to the path. And Sufism is really, it's a universal worship. We're all about inclusiveness of all religions. The universal worship service that we do is we light candles, 7 candles. We represent the 6 major religions of the world, and then we light a 7th for all those known and unknown. Because there's so many religions out there, it's hard to really, we want to pay respect to all. So we have a sacred book from each of those traditions on the altar, and we read from each of those during our services. And then, that's our formal worship service. And then we have groups and circles like this where we sit and talk, and we kind of share some of the message, and we talk about some of the different aspects of it. And there's also a lot of meditative practice called zikr. And zikr is it's a singing meditation in a way. It's also a breathing meditation. It can be done with movement. There's so many different aspects to it. But one of the really deep sound meditations that we do, and working with sound in the Sufi order, is what we call wazif. And wazif are using the sacred names of God. So the different 99 names that are given to us in the Quran, there's actually way more than 99 in the Quran. And a lot of these predate the Quran, but it's a culmination of Arabic terms that are used to describe the different qualities of God. And when you say these particular phrases, it's invoking that quality. So it's really realizing that it's kind of like the multiplicity in the one. We see all the different aspects of God, but we know that it's all God. It's all one source, but it shines, it's a light that gives off all this reflection of all these different qualities. So those qualities are really reflected in the names. And when we speak those names, when we do these wazif, they really bring out that it's really invoking that quality and bringing that into your being. So what I wanted to do tonight was I wanted to read a few different passages about voice. Nothing really too much that I wanted to read, because I usually read a lot of passages and then we kind of discuss that. And I wanted to really share something because I knew I wanted to do something about wazif tonight, and I wanted to do something about sacred sound and just the pronunciation of words and things like that. And I wanted to get into that. And then I've had this honor of doing the website for my teacher recently. She kind of wanted to upgrade her website, and she doesn't have her schedule up to date, and she's, tries to check her email, and it's difficult for her. So let me just rebuild the website. Let's redo it. So in the process of that, she's been giving me a multitude of recordings. She spent 35 years with Hazrat Inayat Khan's son. So his son was her teacher for 35 years, Pir Vilayat. He passed on 11 years ago, peace be upon him. And but she's incredible, and she's an amazing teacher. And in 2007, she did a retreat, Dances of Universal Peace retreat in Australia. And I have a recording, which is an audio recording of this whole retreat. And one of the lectures that she gave within this retreat, I'm going to do my best to paraphrase and share with you, because it was really beautiful. When I was thinking about doing the sound meditation, and I want to talk less basically and do more of the singing and let the vibration of the message really be what speaks to everybody that comes to these groups. And when I was listening to this recording the other day, I got about halfway through it and just tears were pouring down my face, and I'm just like, I've got to do this. So I've been, listening and listening and listening, trying to soak as much of it in. So I just wanted to share a little of that. It's a very short, brief scenario, but it's a nice visual meditation. So I'll read a couple little passages just to kind of set up sacred word, sound, and that kind of thing. And then I'll give this short little scenario. It'll be a nice little visual meditation. And then we'll go into a wazif, which is the very first one that I learned, which is Ya Hadi. And so basically the name of God that we invoke is Al-Hadi. Al is basically the, Hadi is guide. So when we think of God as guidance, that divine light, that real light in a dark place, that light, guiding light, that's Hadi. So when we say Ya Hadi, it's really invoking that presence. So when you say ya, ya is oh. So it's like paying reverence. Oh, guide. You know. So when you say it, ya hadi, you say it with a breath. You know, a ya, and putting that extra breath. I mean, you can sit and a lot of people do this. I've seen this for years. A lot of Buddhist chants, a lot of different chants where people sit and and you can chant it in a way that's very heartfelt, or you can chant in a way that's very just saying the words. And the thing with the Sufis and the Wazif is really incorporating the breath. That's the whole mystic element of, that's the whole part of Sufi mysticism is breath work. So bringing that breath of life into each word, so ya hadi, and really having that presence that you bring from the heart through the breath out into the word that really invokes that presence. So we'll get into a little bit of that. Let me just find a couple of quick passages to share here. Now, this is from the Mysticism of Music and Sound, and this is chapter XVIII, whatever that is, 17. The voice is not only indicative of man's character, but it is the expression of his spirit. The voice is not only audible, but also visible to those who can see it. So I wanted to share that just because I think that's going to tie in a little bit with what we're talking about here, because this scenario is really going to be, it's a call and response kind of scenario. And yeah, the voice can be very visible if we can see it. And then there's a lot of different qualities of the voice. I'm going to skip over that because that's really for a later, that's a whole lesson on itself. I think I'm just going to read this one here. I must not sacrifice the natural quality of my voice, for every person, every soul must know that there is no other voice like his. And if that particularity of its own voice, which each soul has, is lost, then nothing is left with it. I'll read that one more time. I must not sacrifice the natural quality of my voice, for every person, every soul must know that there is no voice like his. And if that particularity of its own voice, which each soul has, is lost, then nothing is left with it. So this talks a lot about the individual voice, and that kind of beckons to an idea of separation in a way. And that's really where we start all these practices. We start as an individual ourselves. We start with our own ego, with our own expectations and our own ideas when we go into a meditation. And then we reach a place where through the meditation, we let that part of ourselves go and merge with something more. And that's really what Ya Hadi is really encompasses. So I just wanted to share those few little passages there. And then, yeah, we'll take a little voyage here. So imagine, if you will, try to visualize that you are in a boat, a very small boat, nothing fancy, and you're stuck out in the very middle of the ocean. You're way out, just in this vast expanse of water, and you don't have a sail or anything like that. You have a few oars. The problem is that it's also the phase of the moon where it's the darkest night that it could possibly be, and there's no stars in the sky. And it also happens to be extremely cloudy, so you can't really see any moonlight. So you're in this boat, this small, rickety boat, and you're out in the middle of the ocean in this vast expanse of water. surrounded in complete darkness. And for all intents and purposes, essentially you're lost, completely lost, with no sense of direction. So contemplating kind of what to do in this scenario, here I am afloat, adrift in the ocean, in this little rickety boat with no light and no way of really knowing which way to steer or go, or how I would steer if I was to be able to fashion a sail and steer myself in some direction, where to go, where would I end up. So you spend some time and think this through and realize that you just can't sit and do nothing. You have to do something. So you take the little few things that you have within your boat, and you do fashion a sail, and you use one of these rudders to or oars to kind of make a little rudder. And fortunately, you cast your sail and you catch a bit of wind and start to sail off in one direction and use your rudder to kind of guide your way into somewhere. And again, you're completely lost and not knowing where you are, but knowing that you have to do something, that there's something that has to be done. Something within you beckons, no, I have to try. I have to find a way. So you fashion this sail, you catch this wind, you use this rudder, and you start veering off in some direction into the darkness with, again, no idea of where you're headed, but just a belief in yourself and a belief in the idea that I'm not meant to stay in this ocean. And if I'm going to do something, whatever effort I put forth, if I have faith, I'll be taken where I need to go. So with that faith and with that belief in yourself and that confidence in something guiding your way, even though you have no idea what your way is, you venture out, and eventually you come across what you feel is a glimmer of light, a small glimmer of light in the distance. And you see this flicker of light, and you think for a moment, did I see light? Could it be land? Could it be something that I should be striving to reach towards? And as you get a bit closer and you move a bit your focus towards the light more, you see that indeed it does look like a guide light, like a lighthouse. It's a beacon of guidance that's throwing this light out towards you, that's reaching out towards you. This little flicker of light, and it rotates around, and a flicker of light, and it comes back towards you again. Each of these flickers of light kind of gives you this realization that yes, that is a lighthouse. That is a place that I might find my shore. I might find that place that I can find safety. So in that, you take the rudder that you've made into, or the oars that you've made into a rudder, and you make them back into oars, and you start kind of really working your way and paddling towards that light, because now you have some sense of that's where I need to go. That's where I need to reach. There's my light, my guiding light. And you row towards this guiding light. And as you draw nearer and nearer to this guiding light, you start to see its glow, its hue. It has this arc that it puts off as you get closer, and you see that it's brighter and brighter, this arc that the light puts off. You're not quite in the arc yet, but you see it, and you know it's there, and you know that if you keep moving towards it, that eventually you'll be within the arc of that light, where it's going to give you more visibility, more illumination, more ability to see. So you work harder to row towards that light, towards that arc, and eventually you merge with it. You become within the arc of this light, and you can see that it's around you, and that it's encompassing you, and that it's there, and you still see that bright shimmer of the guiding light that's there, but now you're in the essence of that guiding light. You're in within the shimmer of its aura, and now you can kind of feel, I'm finally reaching that place. I'm reaching that destination. That land is there, and you have that peace and that comfort within you that you've almost reached the shore. You've almost reached the light. And as you go farther and farther into the hue of that light, eventually the brightness becomes so bright. It becomes so luminous that the only thing surrounding you now is the light. And the light is all around you. And you realize, I've reached the shore. I've reached the light. And it's been beckoning for me this whole time. I was just in the darkness, in a place where I couldn't see the light. But I had the faith and I had the belief in myself, and I knew the light existed. I knew it was there. But I had to believe in myself enough to let go and be carried to it, to where I saw it enough that it beckoned to me. And then I called to it, and it drew me nearer, and it drew me nearer, and drew me nearer, until I was in its essence. And when I merged with its essence, then I became one with the light. So when that light merges with you in that moment that you reach shore, and all there is light, that luminous glow that now isn't just a beacon of guidance, but it's the illumination that lights up everything in your surroundings. So now you see the shore, you see the lighthouse, you see the light, you know exactly where it all comes from, and it becomes your station, your place, your state, the state that you achieve and reach. So with this little journey or little idea in mind, a great story, by the way. I'm very grateful to Tasneem for sharing that and for having the chance to really transcribe that stuff and take it in. But that's really what the idea is of the Wazif and of the different invocations of the name. We could come up with a scenario for each of the 99 names, and we could really come up with countless scenarios for each of those. But that's really one beautiful way of really vocalizing or visualizing the process of using sacred phrases or sacred names those qualities are beckoning to us. That light is coming out. It's a beacon that's reaching out to us. It's a blip that we see from time to time, and we catch a glimpse of it. We catch a glimmer of it, and then we finally see it enough that we can hold on to it. We can steer towards it, and then eventually merge with it. And so with each of the different phrases that we do, and there's 99 names, and how we do a lot of the different Wazif is we'll say one phrase, but then we'll also put two together, and a lot of times it's opposite phrases. So we use a lot of different ideas of destruction and sustainment and things like that, and you recognize the destructive force, but then you uplift the sustainment that comes from the destruction and those types of things. So there's a lot of different ways that the Wazif work. What I kind of wanted to do tonight was just work with a few different aspects of this. It's still part of the same retreat that my teacher gave. And I'd first like to do Yahadi and do some chanting of that. We won't do it terribly long, but enough to kind of really get a feeling and really get the vibration going. And then I'd like to follow doing Yahadi with Ya Nur Yahadi. And Nur is light. So it's really like the guiding light. So Ya Nur, the divine light, the guiding light, give me guidance. Ya Nur Yahadi. And what we'll do is I'll I got a couple singing bowls we can kind of use as a little musical kind of a carrier. I've got the harmonium. We can use either one of those, but I just make a little tone in the background. Now, by no means do I expect this to sound like a barbershop quartet or anything like that, or do what feels comfortable. If the note that I'm playing doesn't resonate with what you want to put out, do whatever feels natural. I want everyone to feel comfortable, and it's not about note choice and things like that. It's about the vibration of the word. It's really about the sound, the emphasis that you put into the word, the feeling, and the intention. So when you say these phrases and we do this practice, really focus on the qualities of those words and really want to invoke those within your heart, within yourself, which is just invoking divine light, divine guidance. So yeah, having the intention and kind of really focusing on that coming to you, you'll feel a difference just by putting your thought on it as you vibrate those words and those phrases. I think it'll be quite fun. So get comfortable if anybody wants to sit in a meditative pose or whatever makes you comfortable. Let's see. Same thing. I'll play them both. And the one real important thing about Wazif is keeping it very rhythmic. So the whole idea is, working a lot with the breath and things like that. This is something that I teach in my vocal training, and I had a few lessons with a teacher, and this is the way that she describes it, so I can't take credit for this particular phrase, but she says it's kind of like a by the way. When you say by the way and you kind of do one of those, you take a little breath like that, and it kind of comes from here, that kind of a little. So as you're doing these practices and you kind of keep a rhythm to your breath, don't strain in any way. Don't try to, be on a certain rhythm or anything like that. Be whatever's rhythmic to you, whatever feels comfortable and feels like this is my flow. That's the whole idea. So if you get off from the group or off from me in any way, that's okay. But try to follow in a way that's just rhythmic, and we'll do some Yahadi, and then we'll do a little short pause, and then go into Yanur, Yahadi, and then we'll do some silent breath work after that I'll just kind of lead you into as we go. Hadi. I'm going to speed up just a little more. Ya Hadi, 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 Now just Hadi. 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 Now silently on your breath, breathe in, Hadi. Breathe out, Hadi. Breathing in, Hadi. Breathing out, Hadi. Just sit in the silence for a moment, breathing in, Hadi. Breathing out, Hadi. So when we say Ya Hadi, Ya is O and Hadi is guide. So we're saying, O guide. So we're calling out from the darkness, from that little boat out in that dark ocean with no light. That's where we're calling from when we say Ya Hadi. And then as we get closer, when we get to that place of being in the luminous arc or glow of that light, that's when we drop the Ya and we say Hadi, because now we're in that arc. We're in the presence of that divine quality, that gift, that guidance. And then when we pause and go into silence and just breathe in Hadi and breathe out Hadi, that's when we're really merging with that. We've accepted that that gift is within us. And we're breathing in that guidance and breathing out guidance. So now I'd like to do the same. And we're going to say Ya Nur and Ya Hadi. And this is combining two of the divine names, two of the divine qualities. Again, Ya Nur is the light, really the light of guidance, the divine light, the truth that shines from within, if you want to say it that way. And Ya Hadi, again, is the guide, reaching to that guiding light that beckons from the shore far away that we had faith in. So now we're acknowledging that light of guidance. We're saying we have faith in that, and that we know that that light is out there, and we're beckoning to that light. So where we're drawn into it, and we recognize it as our guide, and we let it guide us, and we become one with that spirit of guidance. So through that we say, Ya Nur, Ya Hadi. Move this over here. Resting in that glow. Nur Hadi, Nur Hadi, Nur Hadi, Nur Hadi, Nur Hadi, Nur just on the breath. Nur, in, breathe in Nur, out Hadi. Breathing in Nur, breathing out Hadi. When you breathe in, breathe very subtle, very slow, almost to where you can't even hear your breath. Breathing in Nur, breathing out Hadi. Continuing to breathe. So now just rest in your breath for a few moments and realize that we've now reached that light, that guiding light within us that was beckoning to us this whole time. That from out of the darkness we called for guidance. We beckoned, Ya Hadi, asking, please, Lord, give me guidance. I'm here in this darkness. I'm lost. I can't see. I have no idea where my way is, where I'm going. But I beckon to you. I call to you. Please shine that beacon of light, that guidance. Throw that light to me. And as we did that practice, that light of guidance was thrown to us, directed towards us, where eventually we were drawn closer to it. And then with Ya Nur, we entered into the essence of that light, to the hue, the ambient glow of that light, to where eventually we merged with that guiding light that was always there. So I urge you throughout the coming weeks and until our next session, to think about the different qualities that God represents to you. Whatever your faith may be, whatever your spiritual background or lack of spiritual background may be, whatever your belief or lack of belief may be, we all know that there's different qualities that each of us possess, that certain things resonate with us, just as Inayat Khan's words resonate with me because I'm a musician and he speaks musical term. That resonance with me is that message. And some people resonate more with the Buddhist tradition, some more with the Hindu tradition, some more with Islam, some more with Christianity, with Judaism, and all the other religions known and unknown to the world. And whatever your thought or belief is, just know that that guiding light is always within you. And that sometimes it takes a little gong, a little something to kind of shake that veil off of us, or that covering. But when you use these names and you use these ideas, and whether you're using wazif, sacred Sufi words, or other words or terms, whatever resonates with you, with what the Creator is, or those divine qualities or gifts, you can do these practices on your own throughout the day. Ya Shafi, Ya Kafi is two words that we use a lot in the healing order. So in the healing work that we do. One is the healer and one is the sustainer, because we want healing, but we want to be sustained in that health. We want to stay in that state. So a lot of times I'll just say, "Oh healer, oh sustainer," because that's the language that I grew up in. That's the language that I know. Now there's more power in Ya Shafi, Ya Kafi. And reason being because all of those syllables have sacred tones within them. So when you say Yahovah, as they say Jehovah, Yahovah, when you say it in that way, it's that breathing that life into it. Another word that we use, just like Om, the sacred sound of the universe, as culminated into the Om. The same exact thing as Om would be Hu in Islamic mysticism, I guess. But Hu is kind of that same thing, and I love the word Hu because it's almost like human. It's like breathing. It's a breath of when. Pir Vilayat is the grandson of Inayat Khan. He's our current leader of the Sufi order, Pirzia. Yeah. Did I say Vilayat?
Yeah.
I wish he was still here. But yeah, Pirzia. And anyway, he illustrates that really beautifully. I lost my train of thought, but that's all right. So yeah, any time that you think about those qualities and think about those different aspects of what makes up humanity, what makes up God, all of those things can be culminated into who. So when God breathed life into the universe, it was a vibration, it was a sound, it was a word, and there was the word, and in the beginning there was the word. So that breathing of life into that human existence, and so I love the who because it has that breath of life, almost like that awakening of that clay, that made man. So there's a lot of different ways that we use sacred phrase and sacred ideas. This is really just a really small, scratch the surface glimpse, but I love the tale that she told, and I thought it was just a beautiful story, and really wanted to share that. And, you could take that story and mold it into a lot of different other tales in spiritual teaching, really. But this really told did a great job of telling how sacred sound works. When you're doing a chant, what's in a chant? Is it just saying that phrase over and over going to get me the $1 million, or going to get me the enlightenment or what I'm looking for? It might, but it's really what you put in from the heart, that connection, that vibration that you bring out through the sound. So connecting to that vibration, I think, takes having an intention, having a visual idea of where is this sound carrying me? Where's this sound taking me? And having that idea and that connection to it, even if you really don't know what the words are, you haven't, I'm not a scholar of Arabic by any means, and there's a lot of study of the names that can be done and that has been done, and I'm still ignorant on a lot of it, but I know the phrases that I've used and that have been given to me by my guide, and I felt the experience of those. And one time in particular, I was on a tour with my band. I was touring with one of the guys from Korn, and we were on this tour, and he was in a Christian rock band, and it was very much that message that we were putting out and getting across. And every day these kids were coming to us that were abused as kids, they were sexually molested, they were extremely angry, had all these different rage problems. I mean, so we dealt with this kind of stuff every day. Teenagers, people coming to us, pouring their hearts out with different things. And I wanted to really reach out to them and speak to them, and I wanted to share a lot of this kind of revelation with them, but it wasn't the setting for it, and I didn't want to overstep any boundaries or push any buttons the wrong way or anything like that. And I went to Tasneem and I said, I don't really know. I have conflict because it's not my voice that's coming through, but yet I want to reach these people just the same as he wants to reach them with the Christian message. I want to still reach them with the same spirit, because He's into the mystical union with God. I'm into the mystical union with God. And I just want to connect with that and give it. And she says, when you're on stage next time, I'm going to give you a wazif to do. Just when you're on stage, just kind of breathe it. Just breathe it, while you're up there. And it was Ya Kadus, Ya Kalam. And Ya Kadus is basically the Holy Spirit. So you're invoking the Holy Spirit. And Kalam is, I'm sure I'm not saying this quite right, but in essence, the way that I understand it, it's perfect speech. So, Holy Spirit, give me perfect speech. Now, I didn't have a microphone and I didn't get to speak. I didn't get to say anything. But invoking this, we got about halfway through the set that first night that I did that, and I had this real experience of I was playing a guitar solo and all these kids were reaching up, and it was like, a whole rock star moment, but it wasn't any of that for me. There was an energy shift, and I felt their need. I didn't feel like they're reaching at me because I'm playing this bitching guitar solo. They're reaching at me because they have a need, and I'm invoking that, and I'm trying to give that, and they sense that, and they're feeling that. And I had this connection with the audience that I have not felt in any other show. And I played, very fortunate to have played to 2 people and to 60,000 people. But this one particular night will really stand out in my mind because I did that wazif, and just, again, I didn't say it out loud. It was just all in the breath, and it was in the moment, rocking out, banging my head or whatever. But I just felt like I felt their need. It wasn't, and it just was like, wow, okay. And I just felt like, all right, I'm feeding that need, because they're excited. They're having fun. They're getting a release. All their pain that they're going through, all that stuff that they're trying to let out is coming out. And for a moment, they're into those 5 notes that I played because they thought it was cool, and they forgot about all that. So wow, I am doing the work,
Which is an interesting. I just got an interesting transposition of that when you were saying that, because a lot of times musicians make the mistake of doing just the opposite, taking for themselves, taking the accolades, fulfilling themselves, fulfilling their needs. Basically, is what that's mostly about a lot of times.
Yeah.
And to switch that over to fulfilling the needs of the audience, making that the priority.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole other way of looking at it, because I'm thinking of it in terms of what kind of music you're playing, how you're doing that. So in other words, instead of trying to express yourself, you're trying to express whatever it is they need.
Yeah. And that was hard for me to do. And I was very much like, I painted my face and did like all kinds of stuff, and like I was all about this, putting on this look, and putting on the whole stage show. And I still have nothing wrong with that if it's in the context of what you're trying to put off and do. But now I look back and I'm like, I actually wrote a song about the way I used to be, and one of the lines is, "Clown painted face, I am the disgrace." Because I kind of look back at myself and I'm like, why did you have to paint yourself up like a clown to get their attention? You did it to connect with people because people thought it was cool, and people looked at it and go, "Oh, that dude's cool," But can you do that without this? Can you do it without all that? And that's really been my big thing as a rock musician, and moving here from Ohio 13 years ago to be a rock star. Landing a couple of gigs with a few guys that had some names, and being able to tour and do some stuff, and feeling like, okay, I'm on my way. Eventually the tattoos came, and the crazy hair and all this, and it's still who I am. It's still an expression of myself. I like to be funky and different, and I'm not unproud of it. I could shave the hair off and I could laser off the tattoos, but all the tattoos have meaning, and I was very smart about how I got them and things like that. But I look at some people now and I see, you know, somebody with 5 more tattoos than me, and I'll be like, dude, this guy's way overdoing it. You know, like he's really trying too hard. You know? And I look at myself, and I'm like, you're almost there. You know. So you have, you know, you take it all in stride, and you find where you fit in, and eventually you know, reach a place, hopefully, where you realize that we're all part of something so much bigger. We're all connected. We're all one. You know, we're all so intertwined. You know, in Sufism, we say that we're, you know, God is closer to us than our own jugular vein. You know, and we're closer to each other than the fish are to the sea. You know, and so when you think of life in that terms and how connected we really are, we might all have different ways of doing things. We might all see things completely opposite. But that thread of truth still lives within us all, you know, and that connectivity. So we can invoke that through sound and through our intention and our meditations and things like that. So, anybody have anything they want to throw in? And you want to discuss anything? Any questions about anything? Or cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
brother.
it's awesome to see.
Duke Crowder, look him up online. Duke Crowder, he's going to be a big star. Yeah.
Where could I get a list of all the names and the meanings?
You know, there's an amazing book out called Physicians of the Heart. You can find them if you Google 99 names of God, they'll all come up, and you'll find millions of different explanations in different ways. Physicians of the Heart is an amazing book because it really, not that, again, this sounds contradictory to Sufism, but it comes from our tradition, you know, not that really matters. But a couple of guys from our tradition that are really, you know, into Indian classical music, into phonetics of words and sound, you know, how sound works. They're really into frequency and just the phonetics of speech and the language of Arabic language and things like that. They've taken these 99 names and put them into like a 300-page book that goes through and just really just breaks it all down in such a way that it really makes it useful for doing this kind of work. So if you want to do those kinds of practices and things, I really recommend. I think the PDF Kindle version is like $12, and then they have a hardcover that's like $35, I think. But it's Physicians of the Heart is really the best reference that I've seen yet. But yeah, there's quite a few other. And like I said, if you Google, you know, the 99 names of God, you'll find tons of different things out there about it.
So, can we sing?
Sure. Yeah. What would you like to sing?
Carly, help me. What chants are appropriate?
Well, you have an agenda, don't you?
Well, I mean, you know, when it comes to the jam, I kind of just, I never know who's going to show up. So first of all, I don't know, like sometimes we have a lot of musicians, sometimes we have no musicians, sometimes people just want to sit and not do anything, and sometimes people want to sing. What I like to do with the jam is kind of try to follow along with what we just spoke about and things like that. I have lots of singing bowls. We can play those and make a lot of, you know, do a drone kind of thing. I've been really wanting to do this at one of these meetings, but I've just been, I guess for me, it's just, there's a lot of things involved, but Hazrat Inayat Khan, his zikr, his main chant that he did, La ilaha illallah.
Okay.
So I love to do that. The only reason I say I hold off from doing it is because I think everybody here has a real sense of what we're talking about and where we're at and things like that. You know, ISIS has been doing some pretty nasty stuff out there, and they've been taking a lot of things from Islam and really making it nasty and dirty, you know. And one of the things that really struck me is, and I didn't even know this, I saw it on the news one night, that their flag says La ilaha illallah. Mm-hmm. And so it was very difficult for me to present that chant at these groups for a while because that was so predominant, so in the media, that I just didn't want people to think, whoa, what's this guy into? You know? But I think it's a beautiful melody. He did a singing version of it, and it's a really beautiful melody. We could definitely do that.
So could we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. You said it's all one.
It is all one.
It doesn't matter in what you speak the name of God.
Exactly.
Whatever.
I haven't played it in a few weeks. Okay. I'll try to get it right. But the basic melody is La ilaha illallahu. And basically, to tell you what that means is it means there is no God but God. There's no reality but the one reality. That's really what it means. And we could go into a whole class, probably a whole month of classes about just the name Allah. You know, and the meanings behind it and where it comes from and how it predates Islam and all these other things. But that's another story. But La ilaha illallah is there is no God but God, which is really the same as saying there's no reality but the one reality. And the melody is La ilaha illallah. Next part goes La switch it up a little here and do Allahu. 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 Allahu.
Is it okay to pick up bells? and-
Oh yeah, yeah, jump in.
Doing it?
Absolutely.
What's that chant? What's the chant?
That's beautiful. There's Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. I've been trying to learn a couple of his, but he's got some serious harmonium players. I did like chopsticks in high school. So. It's got one. Allahu, 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 Allahu. That's a good one. Except I can't play it very fast. And then of course he does a big scale there, big run. Not a master harmonium player. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I usually do it. Just clap.
Just keep going, kind of like, you know, when you put water on a glass, you just keep going it. Right?
Yeah, you just kind of ding the outside, and then kind of hold it on there, and as you run more, it kind of goes through.
After a while, it really gets loud. It really starts singing pretty loud. There it goes. That's nice.
There's a little shaper
Yeah, this is the one that I use really for our meditation too. This is the E note, and E really correlates with like the solar plexus chakra. So all your emotional gut stuff, I'll shake them up. This is the F. This is the heart. That's one of the dance songs, I think.
Okay, what's the first one?
I'm trying to remember too. Now it's just jogging my memory. Yeah.
I'm asking for you to.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
That's the heart.
I know, I'm always too busy trying not to mess up on the guitar, so I never really get fully engaged. Grab my guitar, I'll try to get you.
That was nice, thank you.
Likewise, thank you. No problem. Thank you for coming.
See you soon. Good night, everyone. It's a pleasure meeting you all. Bye. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming. I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
I know my daughter had fun.
Yeah.
You're welcome in.
No, this is the first time. You're beautiful. What is your name? What is your name?
What is your name?
Shivali. Shivali. You're a beautiful girl with a beautiful name.
Goddesses. The wife of Shiva.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you live?
We come from Simi Valley.
Oh,
Okay.
see?
Yeah.
You found this on Meetup?
Yeah, actually I organize a meetup as well.
I saw that you did. That's why I invited you. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
We'll have to come to you.
it's a kirtan meetup.
Really?
Yeah.
What night?
It's typically third Sunday of every month.
Really? I don't even know how to use Meetup.
I just, Tasmin told me about it. She doesn't use it, but she said, you
So
know,
how
I
would
heard
I
Meetup.
find it?
If you just go to meetup.com and
Okay.
type in Simi Valley Kirtan.
Okay.
If you
Alrighty.
I can send you a link too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come for sure.
Yeah.
And you lead it?
Yes.
What time?
It's around like 7. We start at 7 and we end around 9.
City Valley is.
Kirtan's kind of new to me, but if you haven't been to Kirtan before, it's call and response.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really just like, it's like
Oh, okay.
10 times the level of.
You've been to
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? It's beautiful. and
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. So we, they do kirtan here. I've been to a couple of kirtan. I love kirtan. Yeah. So the third, so you meet at
I think I have